Hello. All right, so we are talking about skin tags on the face, neck. This is where I see them. Clients hate them. I'm not kidding you. They hate them. And sometimes they'll be linked, this problem. You might notice you have hair growth here as well, and you might be prone to oily skin. So if you're more like peri to menopause, you mightn't be as oily now, but you might have open pores on the skin. So, all right, let's have a discussion. I'm going to read a little bit as well today because I think the evidence speaks for itself. So I wanted to present some of the evidence to you. So I see a lot of skin tags in my job and people really don't like them. And I'm in the business of making your skin younger. So when I make your skin younger, it's going to get tighter. So I remember needling this lady's neck, and after it, she had a lot of skin tags. And after it, she noticed them, but before she didn't notice them because the neck became tighter. So the skin tag was like pointing out more. So I think people just don't know. So I want to use this opportunity to teach you about them, and hopefully it encourages you to maybe make some changes or know that, you know, you can turn this boat around if you want to, because skin tags are very much linked with blood sugar. So actually in functional medicine, it says here, skin tags are viewed as a direct visible billboard advertising insulin resistance and blood sugar dysregulation. So let that sink in a minute, because sometimes I look at a lot of blood pathology for my job, and sometimes their blood sugars are in range, but they got skin tags. So at some point their blood sugar was not in range and those skin tags developed. But the thing is, it's feedback that maybe you want to look at your lifestyle, you want to look at the right supplements to turn that boat around. So how does high insulin grow skin tags? All right, let's have a look at that. So the biological connection, how insulin grows skin tags. So skin tags are the benign proliferation of collagen and blood vessels. So that's what they are. The mechanism connecting them to your other symptoms involves a specific cell pathway. So let's look at 3 cell pathways. So one is the growth factors, all right? So growth factors mimic when you have insulin resistance, your pancreas is forced to overproduce insulin to force glucose into the cell. Excess circulating insulin binds to the overstimulating insulin-like growth factor, the IGF-1 receptors, located on the skin cell. This is why you'll see blood sugar dysregulation linked to acne. Yeah. So people will say, I ate this and my acne got worse. Of course, because you stimulated IGF-1. Interesting, right? Cell proliferation. IGF-1 is a powerful growth signal. So it's a signal, yeah? When targeted aggressively by high insulin, it causes an overgrowth of skin cells and dermal tissue. This cellular crowning causes tissue to bundle up in an area of friction, like the neck, underarms, groin, physically creating skin tags. I see them also here. Really annoying, I know. What's the third one? So it's a loop. So this is the extract, some high insulin environment that signals your ovaries to produce excess testosterone, causing facial hair and oily skin, and triggers hair follicle, it miniaturizes the hair follicles here. So you lose hair here. So this is classified as the videos we've been doing in the past, high androgens. It's all connected, right? Because androgen stimulates insulin. All right, let's talk about advice for helping this, because we want to turn this boat around. Okay. All right, so first, a supplement called inositol. I feel like I talk about inositol so much lately. Seems to be my new favorite thing. Inositol. Now, this is not a quick fix. If the skin tags are there, you're going to have to get them surgically removed, and there's different ways they do this, basically cut off. But we don't want to keep growing them, so we need to turn this boat around, because it's actually your body doing you a favor to tell you that there is a problem in your blood sugar and you need to change. And if you don't change, it's going to get louder and a more problematic symptom. And we know that some of those symptoms are not fun, like type 2 diabetes. Not something we want. We do not want that. All right, so inositol, so as a prevention for the root cause therapy. So if you combine inositol with a whole food plant-based diet, for example, making sure you're eating a really good breakfast and trying to reduce stress or toxic load like caffeine and alcohol. So that would be really good. And if you combine inositol with chromium, I like this one a lot because it's got it all in it. So chromium is an essential trace mineral that enhances the effects of insulin in the body, supporting insulin receptors site function. So when you combine chromium and inositol, they kind of work as a team to regulate insulin. So you definitely need magnesium with that. They work better together than apart. And managing the existing tissue or the new growth. It is a common misconception that improving your metabolism will make existing skin tags dissolve. You need to get them medically resolved, right? So you might be making these changes, but they're still there. Well, you've got to get them resolved surgically. Yeah. But you don't want to keep growing them, and you want to thank them that they're actually telling you your blood sugar's out and you need to do something about it. All right. Because skin tags and then hair growth and thyroid imbalance clusters together under metabolic dysfunction, functional medicine guidelines recommend deep looking at your blood work. So look at your fasting insulin, not just glucose, as glucose can look normal even when insulin is dangerously high. Look at a marker called HbA1c. Sorry, I'll say it again, HbA1c. To measure your average blood sugar levels over the past 3 months. So you could have good blood pressure today, but that one will give you a 3-month test. So that's a bit more accurate, right? And then you can look at your HDL ratio. A high ratio is strongly secondary clinical marker for hypo insulin areas. So another consideration. So the synergy of chromium work with the myoinositol. Why? So we've got some chromium here and we've got some myoinositol here. And we've got actually a bit of inositol in here, but often it's not enough. You need to be on high dosing. So it's a clinical dose to get this to turn around, and it's a marathon, not a sprint. But the other thing, minoxidil is so good for so many aspects of your physical health. So it's kind of a benefit to be on it anyway. So the chromium works exceptionally well when paired with the minoxidil, okay? So while the inositol works on the initial cell signaling pathway and lipid metabolism and the membrane, the chromium enhances the internal enzyme binding. Together they tackle insulin resistance from 2 completely different angles. Yay! We want to tackle it from 2 very different angles. And then I would just always go back to blood sugar, resistance training, 3 meals a day, minimum 2, not long fasting through the day, fasting while you're sleeping, water between meals, yeah, some of that stuff. So yeah, how this directly impacts the female body. So it slashes ovarian androgen production. When insulin receptors are broken, the pancreas pumps out high levels of insulin to compensate. This excess insulin acts as an aggressive stimulant on the ovaries, causing them to secrete too much testosterone. By actively activating the chromium, it will actually lower the insulin demand and stops the ovaries from overproducing male hormones. That's kind of cool. Shuts down skin tag signals. Lowering systemic insulin via the chromium pathway means fewer growth hormones binding to the skin cell. Balance the HPA ovarian axis. High insulin spikes stress and the body reacts, causing the adrenal glands to pump out cortisol, the stress hormone. Elevated cortisol further disrupts progesterone and estrogen balance. So the cream helps to flatten this curve. Curbs insulin sugar cravings. When insulin resistance prevents glucose from entering the cell, the brain assumes the body is starving. This generates intense, urgent cravings from sugar and fast carbohydrates by forcing glucose into the cell via the GLUT/4 transporters. Chromium actually satisfies cellular hunger, curbing the biological urge to bind onto carbs. That's a few reasons. Okay, hopefully that helps. Bye-bye.